Mario and Pikachu are as recognizable internationally as Coca-Cola. Some people are constantly exposed to video games. They're addicted. And others are realizing that they are spending too much time playing video games.
Will admit with my own self, it's hard to pull yourself away from them, so maybe more than other hobbies, but it's kind of a personal basis kind of thing.
Gaming's impact depends on the individual.
Yeah, actually, that's really funny. Yeah, no, my ex-boyfriend, he was very much into video games, very much, and he would not, I'd tell him to study, he has an exam tomorrow. Oh yeah, okay, I will later. And he'd do a couple, and he wouldn't get that good of grades.
Some students say they have trouble staying on task.
I'll end up playing and lose track of time, and then all of a sudden I've got only like a couple hours to study versus 6 had I not put in 3 to 4 hours of gameplay.
Others report better results because they can keep their hobbies and school straight.
I think that people that I know that play a lot of video games are usually better at school, just because I think they're less, not all of them, but a lot of them are less social, so I feel like they're more into school, and that's how I am.
Staying on task is important.
Some people focus on them a lot more than they should, but if you know how to do things in the right order and get your stuff done before you do video games or play them, then I think you'd be fine.
For Bobcat Update, I'm Brett Ellis. A fish tank can add a nice accent to a small apartment, but when it's time to take a long break from studies, for example, summer or winter break, some students don't know what to do with their finny friends.
A lot of people, once they're done with their aquarium organisms, it could be fish, it could be snails, it could be plants, when they're done with it, one common protocol is our common practice is to take it into the nearby river and dump the contents into the water.
Sometimes they turn to throwing them in the river.
People are not wanting to kill their organisms, thinking that, we'll put it out in the water and it belongs in the water, so it's not that big of a deal.
This is illegal. This is not only damaging to the river, but to the fish as well.
Dumping fish tanks into the river is obviously a problem because all different types of fish exist that need certain ecosystems in order to be able to survive.
There was a program at Texas State that helped to promote information about the issue.
Here's what we'd like to do. Find a pet store that's willing to accept any type of aquarium organism.
Stores, like Earth Angels Pet Supply, accept most surrenders.
Here at Earth Angels, we will do a rescue and will easily take them off your hands.
Not only are the fish an issue for the river, but plants can be even more troublesome.
We had a plant species that you can still buy in some of our local stores, and recently it was reported in the San Marcos River. It may compete with the other native plants that we have, and the fear was that it could be a monoculture of this non-native species.
So remember, keep your pets and plants out of the river and help keep San Marcos beautiful. For Bobcat Update, I'm Brett Ellis. Call it sex work. At Texas State, there are students who, in some form or fashion, sell their bodies to make a living. Go-go dancers, sugar babies, strippers. These are jobs that for some help pay for tuition and rent.
I was not making that much money as a bartender, so I figured why not, and started dancing in the small town that I lived in.
Personal responsibilities often lead them to their line of work.
It does kind of help to be a dancer though, because you can get such a large chunk of money for all your bills and then have plenty of time to focus on school. So, you know, if I dance one night and make $500, I don't have to work all week for that, whereas I can spend more time studying and stuff.
Some say they'd prefer not to be judged for the choices they've made.
I definitely feel like there's still bad stigma. Like, everybody thinks that they're prostitutes or that they're just horrible people or that they steal money. And I mean, while it's true, there are some of those in there, it's not all of them at all. Like, there's actually a lot of normal people there.
Most fear possible social repercussions.
People just don't want to talk about it, or, you know, I can see their attitude change towards me immediately when I do bring it up. So I just try to keep it out of conversation and then not have to hear all the negativity about it.
But they are all people.
I've seen a lot of really pretty college girls walk in there, 18, 19 years old, you know, even some sorority girls.
Some of your fellow students are working hard so that they can go to school. For Bobcat Update, I'm Brett Ellis.
Since there's no teaching manual or book for Aquarian Age Wicca, because I, along with my high priestess who initiated me, are going to put that together, I'm going to be teaching from a variety of sources and from the information that was passed down to me through my coven and through my high priestess before I started my own coven. Here are some good books that I recommend that you read to get a good feel on what Wicca is in general before you really delve into your practice. So let's see, the first one would be Scott Cunningham's Wicca, and this is a book that's 3 books in one. It's Wicca, Living Wicca, and the Complete Book of Incense, Oils, and Brews. So this is actually 3 books by Scott Cunningham. Scott Cunningham is a solitary practitioner, so it's going to be very different than reading a book that is based for coven work, but it's really good to know how to practice by yourself and how to practice in a group. Some older books that I recommend for not only history of Wicca, but the older, more traditional ways to practice Wicca would be Doreen Valiente's work. And here's 3 books by her that I recommend. Witchcraft for Tomorrow by Doreen Valiente, The Rebirth of Witchcraft by Doreen Valiente, and this is one of my favorites, Natural Magic by Doreen Valiente. My inspiration for this sect of Wicca, Aquarian Age Wicca, came actually from reading The Rebirth of Witchcraft. Moving on to some other books. This book, my high priestess gave me after I was initiated, and it's called Hailing Aradia. It's got a lot of the old traditional Gardnerian elements in it, and that's a really good thing because it's really good to know where we're coming from so we can see where we're going in the future. Even though my teachings aren't going to be exactly like this, it's really good to have a foundation, and this is a good place to start. So this is Hailing Aradia by Dottie Gilmore Anderson. And then finally, there's this book called The Crystal Bible by Judy Hall, and it's a really colorful glossary of all the stones, and we use a lot of stones in Aquarian Age Wicca. You're going to need a crystal book of some sort, and this is a really good place to start. So those are some books to get you started. I recommend that you start reading so we can start discussing. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being a part of the growing Aquarian Age online community. I hope to meet many of you one day and to help you all practice and to learn Wicca and to spread it to the world.